The other thing this week is I would just want to do a review of your midterm exam. Some of you have asked. So let's go over the exam and see how it could have been solved. So this was your exam. You had an opportunity to read all the instructions before your timer started. And once you were in the exam, you had all the questions and the description of the app as a part of the instructions. So this was basically a numbers sort of a game, if you want to call it that, 9 digits in a grid, and I wanted you to fill in your student numbers, which are also 9 digits in here. And the functionality, the first part of it was to just lay out the grid and add the label, the button, etc. And not only that, I wanted you to create horizontal and vertical chains. Most of you have got that part, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail of that. And so first three questions, pretty straightforward. I'm going to leave them out from this review. Let's look at the functionality. That's where it gets interesting. So the functionality was that any button, when it's tapped, whatever is displayed on it, if it's less than 5, it would be incremented until it becomes 5, and then it would stay there. And whatever was more than 5 will be reduced until it reaches 5. So if you keep tapping a button, all the buttons, you will have a grid of 5s. That's what we wanted to achieve. That was one part of the functionality. The other part was to reset. When you pressed reset, you wanted this to reinitialize to your student number. That was it. Now let's see different ways of doing it. And I'm using some of your own projects to show this. I have made some modifications to for your own privacy. So you were given a freedom to use either Java or Kotlin, and quite happily, some of you use Java and some other people use Kotlin. So here is an example in Java. This is the main activity file, and here everything is done within that file. So from your layout, you have to connect each button to this square touched method, and then you get as an argument which square was touched. And then from there, you retrieve the text and parse it into an integer. So this is the text of the button, you parse it into an integer. And the functionality was really simple, so it can be implemented using an if statement. If that number is less than 5, increment it. If it is greater than 5, reduce it by 1 and set it back. So if it was already 5, nothing would happen and it would basically remain the same. So that's a square touched. And reset here, you have your student ID and you've got nine buttons. So basically what you're doing is you are getting the buttons one by one and setting the value of each one of them as the character at that particular index. So first button I minus 1, so the first number here. Like that, within a loop you can reset all your buttons in the grid. Okay, let's see another way of doing it. This is in Kotlin, and again the same thing, square clicked gets an argument. Everything is done here pretty much exactly the same way, except this is in Kotlin. Retrieve the number as the integer, increment or reduce, and set it back. Here, instead of using an array, basically the 9 buttons, their text was set directly by using 9 statements. That's completely fine as well. The question did not specify how you had to do it, you just had to do it. So this is very well done too. And the last one example I want to show you is a little more interesting. So we've got here, it's an example of model view controller, what we've been talking about. So instead of whatever it is we want to do with that number happening in the controller, there is a model class. So there is an instance of that model class here. And in our button clicked function, what we do is we call this method. So this student has called this method check number and passing it the integer. Let's see what the model class does. So this is the implementation of the model class. It is doing what in the previous two examples we saw in the same the main activity. So this kind of an implementation gives you complete freedom over how you want to change the number here. It's segregated the functionality. That's the advantage of this method. But the end result is the same. And like I mentioned about some other things, the question did not specify how you had to do it, but it was very good to see this initiative. And for the reset here, there is a slightly different approach, which is to retrieve each button one by one and then set this. So this is a combination of what we saw in the previous two. All right. All right. So hope that helped. If you still have any questions, any doubts, see me during office hours. Thank you.